It's time that we get to the moment of truth, the best movie of 2025. It is my opinion, so try not to argue with me. So with that being said, it's time that I'm going to share to you all 8 of my favorite films of the year. Number 8 is the Minecraft movie. Okay, I know it is not the best movie for everyone, but you gotta admit, it has been fun, especially watching in theaters with your friends and going crazy over the chicken jockey scene, which I thought it is dumb. Well, at times, it felt like you're playing the games, and the action and visuals really stands out, and overall, it is one of the best video game movies since Mario. Okay, why I ranked it way in the bottom of the list, you may ask? Well, the thing is, despite having a good time, I do have my problems with this movie, and that is the betrayal of the Minecraft main character and the main villain. Okay, the only thing that I agreed with the credits is about Jack Black being Steve. Well, don't get me wrong, I love Jack Black and his movies, but when it comes to which role he played in, well, I don't think Jack Black is the best idea as Steve, because Steve is supposed to be a serious, adventurous character. He does not have a beard, and he is not fat, and for God's sake, he is 16 years old, and we all know that Jack Black is not a teenager. Yo, I know Jack Black is funny and all, but Steve is supposed to be, like I said, a serious adventure character, and Jack Black, he's more of a comedic actor than just acting serious, and therefore, this is just making Steve just a jokey character, and that is so unfitting. Well, I don't mind it at times, but it just didn't feel right for me, and I wish that they could cast Jason Momoa as Steve instead, considering he was Aquaman, and heck, he could have been a great Steve if Jason Momoa gets to play as him. Well, the main villain of the Minecraft movie was just insufferable. Well, they got the Minecraft creatures right, that is for sure, but what they didn't get right is her incarnation. She has a emotional backstory, but that doesn't lead into anything, and plus, she sent those useless armies to the heroes just to fail, and they didn't even come up with a much smarter plan than that. And out of all of the Minecraft creatures in the movie, the spiders is my least favorite. I am terrified of spiders, and I was so disappointed and upset that they actually put the Minecraft spiders into the movie, and I don't like it at all. And for that, I am so glad that the Minecraft spiders only have one screen time. Well, although the climax battle is good, but I don't feel satisfied like I should. Like, it doesn't feel like the main villain deserve a redemption story for how underdeveloped she was, and it just didn't hit the impact for me. Well, how come I get to feel some satisfaction in the Superman movie? Well, another movie that I will talk about later on the list. Yeah, these two movies are owned by the same company, but they're not even the same by the story standpoint. Well, with that up and downs, I don't hate my time watching the Minecraft movie. I just wish they'd just stop joking around with this movie a bit and give it more time for respect and more emotional context and all that stuff. But since that we don't have a stronger version of the film, I just can't rank this movie any higher. Well, nonetheless, I love this movie, and this is why I put it on my best list, but I have no interest of watching this movie again, and this is why the Minecraft movie is on last place of my best list. Number 7, The Loud House and the Foster Squad. Okay, in case that you have no idea that this movie existed, well, it is my own movie I just made. Well, not only I made a short film, I also made a homemade movie that is about the Loud House characters having a crossover with my own comic book character, and it was a better Loud House movie than Naughty or Nice. The Loud Sisters had way more screen time than all of the Loud House movies in combined, and I gave the Loud siblings in the Foster Squad a well-deserved emotional core and development. Well, I made a original Loud House character named Logan Loud, and he is a tragic anti-hero who is a rival to Lincoln, and I think he is my favorite character of the whole film. And this movie has a lot of surprises, well-executed multiverse stuff, like everything just felt like a Loud House fan event. And I am so glad I released this movie on my birthday. Well, if it weren't for the Loud House and the Foster Squad, then the live-action Dora could've made it to my best list instead. So yeah, overall, I made a pretty great film for my first movie on my new channel. Well, I wouldn't call it the best Nickelodeon movie, but I would call it the best Loud House movie that I ever made, and I am so honored to put it in one of the best films of the year. Number 6 is The Karate Kid Legends. Okay, watching this movie, it brings back some good old memory when I watched the Karate Kid movies. Well, the story that involved the main character Lee Fong, it was deep, tragic, and emotional. The action are good. I did root for the new Karate Kid. Like, this movie really served well. But it's nearly not as good as the previous movies. Well, all thanks to Sony Pictures compromising this film, the story and structure that you usually see in Karate Kid movies are just all gone, and we just got in a completely different story instead. I just made a comparison video explaining that. Well, despite the strong storytelling, I don't find myself to feel anything like I should. I was just pretty bummed out for how rushed this movie was. Well, if it weren't for Sony Pictures, then this movie will definitely have more time and care put to them. So yeah, The Karate Kid Legends was just a decent Karate Kid movie, but it is still one of the best movies on the list. Number 5, Predator Badlands. Well, I didn't expect myself to watch this movie, but I am glad that I did. Well, instead of making the Predator a cliché horror villain, they made him a horror anti-hero, which I like, and we get to sympathize with this Predator. Well, the action is alright in my opinion, but the story was satisfying when you watch through the end. Yeah, I can't wait to watch this movie again, and I can't wait for the sequel to be made, and I would highly recommend it too. So yeah, with all that, Predator Badlands was a pretty great underdog story, and this is why this movie made it to a list of one of my favorite 2025 films. Number 4, Zootopia 2. I'm actually just working on a comparison video between the sequel and the first movie, and I gotta say, Zootopia 2 is yet another great Disney movie since Toy Story 4, and I pretty much enjoyed it more than Moana 2, which that movie disappointed me by the ending part. So yeah, if Disney keeps up the good sequels, then maybe they will finally step up their game again. So overall, Zootopia 2 was better than I expected, and I highly recommend it. Alright, the next two movies that I'm going to talk about, well, it is pretty hard to choose between one of them because I, in fact, liked both of them equally. But you know what? Screw it. Only one movie would be mentioned on the list. So, number 3 is The Fantastic Freaking Four. Yeah, what else I need to say about it? The visuals are just so beautiful, the characters are done right, and the comic book was done justice too. There are some high stakes in the story. We get to finally see Galactus again, well, since the 2007 film barely gave us Galactus, and Galactus in this movie was a threat, and the overall theme of this movie is family. So yeah, what a fantastic movie. Okay, maybe I shouldn't joke about that. Number 2 is the new Superman reboot. Okay, like I said, I love Fantastic Four so much that it is hard to choose between this film and the Superman movie. But after thinking about it for a very long time, well, my only problem that I had with the Fantastic Four is the female version of the Silver Surfer. She's not, well, she's alright in all, but she doesn't feel like the Silver Surfer that I grew up with. And plus, the side characters don't have as much as screen time than the Fantastic Four did. Like, they just come off as forgettable. And this is probably why the Superman movie is preferred. The visuals is beautiful and colorful. They did the source material from the comics as well. The villains are intimidating, and the action is not too overused, just like Zack Snyder Man of Steel was. And unlike the Fantastic Four, the side characters had more screen time in comparison. Well, although I feel like this movie needs to be longer to flesh things out, but overall, it was such an amazing movie. Well, me personally, I'm more of a Marvel fan, and I will forever be on Team Marvel, but when it comes to the comic book movies done right for this year, well, I think DC Comics deserve the win for the first time forever. Alright, now, as for number 1, I'm pretty sure you guys would be surprised what I put in number 1. Megan 2.0. Yeah, I know it is not an excellent movie for everyone either. It is indeed one of these disappointing sequels, but me personally, I enjoyed this movie for all the wrong reasons. Well, before watching Megan 2.0, I watched the first Megan back in 2023. So after I watched the first movie, well, I did not care for it at first, but then I watched this movie again this year, and I ended up liking this movie. But watching Megan 2.0 for the first time, I quickly fall in love with the Megan horror franchise. That's so sweet. Megan, please don't interrupt. Well, anyway, just say what you will about this movie. I don't mind Megan as a hero in the sequel. I think they gave her a decent redemption arc. Well, in fact, I understand Megan's character more than I understand the Nickelodeon characters, probably. The movie is generic, sure, but the action was impressive, and if you experience the action in theater, then it is absolute cinema to you. And it was the funniest movie I've seen ever sense for a long time. I mean, seriously, me and my friends were making fun of this movie so much, we repeated the same scene in funny dialogue, and I even showed them a funny clip from the movie, and make up with these hilarious scenario what Megan would do, and that's how memorable this movie was. And speaking of which, Megan herself was the highlight of this film. She has more personality this time around, and she gotten more powerful in this movie. Like, Megan is by far the best anti-hero of the year, hands down. And I end up falling in love with the human characters that I don't yiked in the first movie. For a horror movie, it has a pretty touching emotional core, and honestly, I wanted Megan 3.0 to be made. That way I can explore Megan's story much further. Alright, don't get me wrong, I think Superman and the Fantastic Four are the better movies, and I don't think Megan 2.0 is nearly as good as these two comic book films, but I'm actually ranking movies based off how much I enjoy any of these films. So when it comes to an entertaining factor, well, Megan 2.0 did entertain me the most for this year. Well, if you're one of these people that is disappointed by this movie, or you wish that it could have been better, or out straight dislike this movie, then that is totally fine. Everyone has their opinion, but in my opinion, Megan 2.0 was a slight improvement over the first by the pacing and goofiness, and it was such a good time for me overall. Well, it might not be the strongest film of the year, but it was the most fun one. Well, although, the only thing that I would like to change about this movie is the lack of emotional villainous motivation of Amelia, and the rest of this stuff that doesn't make sense to me. But with all flaws in all aside, I love Megan 2.0 so freaking much, and this is why it is my personal favorite movie of 2025.